Today, let's talk about the concept of microaggression, how it could be helpful, but also can be harmful, or at least not very helpful. If you are not familiar with this concept, this is a concept I believe first coined by Dr. Pierce, who is a psychiatrist. It's basically a derogatory statement, whether intentional or not, made based on somebody's race, maybe their culture, um, their gender, or their belief. Now, I know this might be a hot topic. The reason why I'm sharing my own perception is so that we have more of a mixture of viewpoints. If you are so sure of what you think about microaggression, that's fine. And you don't have to burn up the comment section, but you could certainly share your thoughts. When you're listening to this channel, I too am being just simply the fullest expression of myself, and I would change my mind based on the information at hand. So, also one of the reason is that it seems to me that there's only um, more other leaning, more extreme leaning to the perception of microaggression, even a lot of, let me be careful with my language. Many professors, uh, maybe from, especially in the Western Hemisphere, um, talk about microaggression. For example, that if somebody asks you, do you speak another language, or if they comment, because I've seen some PDFs around this on how this is potentially a microaggressive statements, or someone might say, wow, you speak good English, and they intend to compliment you. Now, how this could be helpful is that I appreciate that we're talking about these things, because when we're not familiar with this concept, we might think that it's just us. Oh, is there something wrong with me? But when given a context, it helps us understand that it could just be a phenomena or other people's perception of us, and not merely because of us. So that could be helpful, so that we don't internalize such conversations, such exchanges with other people. Now, the not so helpful part of microaggression is just there's this a few framework that those who talk about it a lot often, is that it could be harmful is when we just perceive a single question. Because I've, like I said, I mentioned how I've seen some publication on where they write, if somebody asks you this, how that can be harmful, because people are coming from different experiences. And although they might, who knows, they might be intentionally saying a derogatory statement. I have a hard time saying the word. It is also possible that they are coming from a different intention. For example, they might just be very curious. I mean, I was just in a jury service and someone commented, why is it that you speak good English, knowing that I was born and raised in the Philippines? Now, I take that actually as just a statement, an observation, and I'm not offended by that. Some people are just curious. At best, they might be ignorant. Um, But we all have this confirmation bias, in which when we receive information over and over and over again, then when we expect to see something, it is what we see. So that's confirmation bias. That could be harmful, because when someone is just curious, now you have a lens, because you've heard it over and over and over again, that somebody might be trying to offend you. So I see this more even with when I study comments from the Philippines, from the islands, and how people's perception have also been changed, because the media that we mainly consume is from the West. And we're not if you've been following me, I'm always trying to integrate different things. There are so many different skills and that I've also learned just having lived in the West. And I feel like I've been more enriched being born and raised in the Philippines and then having been schooled here in America and all the life experiences. So I appreciate both. Um, why again it might be harmful is that the person, whether they are just curious, maybe they're at best ignorant, even when they're trying to offend you. This has happened to me um, many times when people are truly ignorant and they might say something that could offend me. What I do is I give an example of the opposite that probably they're stereotyping me. And if that's honest and that's consistent to my personality, um, that is how we actually change people's perception. Not that just one interaction would change it, they might be a few other, but then they have a different association. If they just think that, let's say Filipinos are this way, and then they experience it differently, then it's their associations might be a little confused, maybe not proven on the other side. And so this is the reason why I think it could be harmful when you have that confirmation bias of like, wow, they are saying something about me being a Filipino, even if they are, you could acknowledge that. And sometimes you have to just be very direct with people. Oh, yeah, maybe they just need to be given more information. Actually, Filipinos really speak very good English. It's our main medium of instruction in our school, and not take offense. The more that we are offended by it, the more their association might match. So give them a different experience. As much as in my work, even in schools, I teach about culture and whatnot. To me, the best way to change the trajectory of how you and I are perceived is by giving them a different experience. So I am not saying that having a knowledge about microaggression is not helpful. If you were listening, I think there is something to that. But the teaching that certain things, just because they said or ask you a certain question, that they are probably saying or um, meaning a derogatory statement, is something to be checked. So I just plead for your mindfulness in this process. And when there's a social contagion phenomena, what that means is that when somebody observe it and then you hear it from another people, it becomes like something that you might easily observe. Again, it's part of this confirmation bias. So I hope that's been helpful. Be kind with your comments, but I'm also willing to hear your thoughts. This is Roanne Digia Samuels. Maraming pong salamat sa iyong kikinig. I'm a licensed psychotherapist here in California. If you'd like to be a part of my weekly love notes, I'll put the link in the show notes. Ingat!